Hello, all. Welcome back to Akasha Sainya, where we dive into historical events that have shaped our world. Today, we are diving deep into liberation of Goa in 1961, a pivotal moment in Indian history. Before we delve into the liberation of Goa, let's set the stage. In 1950, the Portuguese began their colonization of India, establishing colonies along the western coast. By the end of the 19th century, Goa, Daman, Diu, Dadar, and Nagar Haveli were the only Portuguese territories left in India, collectively known as Estado da India. Despite India gaining independence in 1947, Goa continued to be under Portuguese rule. The story commences with Vasco da Gama's historic arrival in Calicut in 1498. Facing initial challenges, Gama established trade but encountered resistance from the Samoan kingdom. But as far as the Portuguese government in Lisbon was concerned, the expedition was successful. A sea route bypassing the Ottoman Empire was found, and the expedition had yielded a profit far beyond the initial investment. Further conflict with the Samoan kingdom and expeditions of Vasco da Gama established a base of operations on the Malabar coast of India. Francisco de Almeida, the first viceroy, set up the initial headquarters in Cochin, India, marking the early stages of Portuguese dominance. First Portuguese fort is established at Cochin in 1503. Second Portuguese fort at Kannur is built at 1505. In 1509, Alfonso de Albuquerque became the second governor of the Portuguese possession in the east. A Portuguese fleet under Marshal Fernão Coutinho arrives off the coast of Calicut. Their instructions were pretty clear: destruction of the Samorin. The city was reduced to rubble and the Samorin's palace was captured. But the local forces rallied and fell upon the invading Portuguese, causing them to retreat. In the same year, a combined fleet of Egyptians, Arabian, and Samorin fleet is destroyed by the Portuguese at the Battle of Diu. In 1510, with the aid of Vijayanagara Empire, Alfonso defeated the Bijapur Sultanate, establishing the permanent settlement of Goa. It would go on to become the headquarters of the Portuguese colonial possessions in India and the seat of the viceroy. As the Portuguese solidified their presence, Goa became the epicenter of their colonial possessions, and Mumbai also fell under their control until its transfer to British in 1661. The 17th century witnessed the declines of Portuguese fort on the Malabar coast to the Dutch, altering the course of their colonial history, and their control restricted to Goa and the enclaves of Diu and Daman for the next century. In the mid 20th century, while most of the India celebrated its newfound independence from British rule, the tiny enclaves of Goa, Daman, and Diu remained under the Portuguese colonial grasp. After India gained independence in 1947, diplomatic relationships with Portuguese were established in 1949. But by 1950, ties began to strain due to Portugal's refusal to cede its enclaves. In 1951, Goa was designated as an overseas province, hinting at a military alliance with NATO. During 1940s, movement known as the Goa Liberation Movement emerged. Fueled by non-violent protest, revolutionary techniques and diplomatic efforts, this movement gained strength over 2 decades. Key figures like Dr. Ram Manohar Lohia and Julia Menezes played crucial role, and it was led by Peter Alvarez. The people of Goa, inspired by a struggle for the freedom in 1946, persisted in their quest for independence. The year 1954, a spark of resistance ignited when the United Front of Goans bravely seized the Dara enclave on July 24. Not long after, in August of the same year, the Azad Gomtak Dal captured Nagar Haveli. However, the wheels of the change faced a setback when the International Court of Justice granted access to the Portuguese territories, seemingly rendering the efforts of liberation useless. Local protest against Portuguese rule echoed through the streets of Goa, only to be met with brutal suppression. The Indian government, adopting a patient wait and watch strategy from 1951 to 1961, brought the issues of decolonization to the international stage while enforcing an economic embargo. The Indian stance towards the Goa liberation movement turned assertive due to a series of incidents. The Portuguese forces violently suppressed non-violent satyagrahas, attempting to expel them from the Goa since 1954. Upsprings were squashed, with leaders being killed or imprisoned. The Portuguese forces even opened fire on innocent villagers, prompting India to sever diplomatic ties and impose an economic blockade on Portuguese Goan possessions. With international resolutions ignored, then Prime Minister Nehru decided to liberate Goa through force. Portugal's reluctance to relinquish its territory triggered a conflict, with Portuguese soldiers opening fire on Indian fishermen in November 1961. This prompted India's Defence Minister Krishna Menon to seek approval from the Prime Minister Nehru for military intervention. As the tensions reached a boiling point, Operation Vijay was set in motion. With diplomatic avenues exhausted, India decided to resort to military force. Operation Vijay was launched on the night of December 17, 1961. The operation involved coordinated effort by Indian Army, Indian Navy, and Indian Air Force. Indian Navy imposed a blockade on Goa, cutting off its sea routes and isolating Goa from reinforcements or supplies. This strategic move limited the options for the Portuguese garrison in Goa. Indian Air Force conducted airstrikes on key military targets in Goa, softening the Portuguese defenses and paving the way for the ground forces. On the ground, Indian military moved swiftly, launching a multi-pronged assault on various fronts. The main thrust came from three directions, from the north, east and south. The Portuguese garrisons were outnumbered and outgunned, and they faced determined Indian forces. Facing overwhelming military pressure, the Portuguese Governor General Vasco e Silva formally surrendered on December 19, 1961. The military campaign was a success and Goa, Daman and Diu were integrated into Indian Union. While the military action was successful, it drew criticism from some quarters internationally. Western unions, including the United States and United Kingdom, expressed disapproval of India's use of force. However, many Asian and African countries supported India's move, viewing it as a step towards decolonization. Operation Vijay had lasting implications. The successful annexation of Goa, Daman and Diu strengthened India's territorial integrity and marked the end of European colonial presence on the Indian subcontinent. The military success also bolstered India's confidence on the global stage, asserting its commitment to decolonization and self-determination. The aftermath of Goa's liberation has seen remarkable transformations. Today, Goa boasts India's highest per capita net state domestic product, NSDP, exceeding the nation's average by 2.5 times. From 2011, Goa's GSDP at current prices witnessed consistent annual growth at a remarkable rate of 10.65%. The state showcases a highly literate younger population and excels in public health care, earning the title of the best run small state in India. Every year on December 19th, Goa Liberation Day is observed to commemorate the success of Operation Vijay, a 36-hour military operation conducted by the Indian Armed Forces that freed Goa from Portuguese domination. As we wrap up this journey through the liberation of Goa, it's essential to recognize the enduring spirit of the Goan people who, alongside national leaders and armed forces, shaped this historic event. Let's pay homage to the courageous freedom fighters who played pivotal role in the liberation of Goa. The roster includes notable figures such as Ram Manohar Lohia, Vishwanath Lamde, Narayan Hari Naik, Dattatreya Deshpande, Prabhakar Sinhari, and Mohan Rande. Their dedication and sacrifice underscore the tenacity of the Goan liberation movement. The Portuguese rule, lasting over 4.5 years, came to an end, leaving behind a transformed Goa. June 18th, recognized as Goan Revolution Day, remains a reminder of the collective struggle that laid the foundation for the eventual liberation. If you found this exploration enlightening, don't forget to show your support, give this video a thumbs up, share it with your fellow history enthusiasts, and hit that subscribe button for more deep dives into historical narratives. Thanks for joining us on this historical odyssey, and until next time, keep uncovering the stories that shaped our world.